Hello everyone, I'm Frank and welcome to Frank Puzzles, and this is today's easy level puzzle, and it's considered easy. Take that easiness with a grain of salt because it's considered easy by the people on the Logic Masters Germany forum, and there's a lot of really smart people there. Today's puzzle was actually, I think, a Sudoku puzzle that was submitted for potentially going for the Dutch Sudoku qualification uh, round, but it was not selected. But it's used. They say they use it as an app. You can use it as an appetizer to apply for essentially the Dutch. There's like I guess the Dutch Sudoku Championship, which is going on in May. I think the qualifiers have already passed, so unfortunately, if you wanted to do something like that, it's a little late right now. If you wanted to do that anyways, you probably already knew about it. So, but this was one of the puzzles which was not selected for the Dutch Championship. I think for the qualifications. Um, but it's supposedly a nice little puzzle, anyways. And it's called Sudoku Sandwich, and it's by Richard. And here are the rules. Apply classic Sudoku rules, which means fill the entire grid with the digits 1 through 9 without repeats in any row, column, or box. Clues outside the grid indicate the sum of the digits that have to be placed between the digit 1 and the digit 9 in that row or column. So, for example, this 20 means that the digits between 1 and 9 have to add up to 20. So we could have something like a 9 here. And as an example, let's have, I don't know, 3, 7, 2, and 8. The digits in between the 1 and the 9 in this column add up to 20. So that's a example of how sandwich Sudoku works. And those are the rules. If you'd like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's go. Okay, so what I like coloring is I like coloring the end or the crusts, essentially, of the sandwiches. And what possibly could be the crusts. The crust could not be anywhere here. Could not be here because, again, the sum of these digits would then add up to 0. This can't be because only you can have a single digit between 1 and 9 if that were the other crust. So these cannot be crusts. Let's make it blue, actually. Blue's a little easier to read than medium gray. This can't be, this can't be. We have one crust here. So similarly, these can't be crusts because of the same reasoning. Can you have 3 digits adding up to 20? You could, but you can't have 2. So therefore, this is not a crust. The crust has to be one of these 3. We're not sure which. Same here. This cannot be crust. Can you have 4 digits adding up to 29 that does not include a 9? Because the digits in between 1 and 9 can never include a 9, obviously. And the answer is no. So this obviously is not a crust. This cannot be a crust. Therefore, this must be a crust. So this is a 9. And these 5 digits must add up to 29. The other 2 must add up to 6. Because if you have a full row, that's 45 for the sum. You subtract out the 1 and the 9, that's 10. That leaves you 35 for the remaining digits. And since the digits in between 1 and 9 have to be add up to 29, that means these digits add up to 35 minus 29, which is 6. And the only 2 digits that can add up to 6 that are remaining, because you can't have a 1, are 2 and 4. So this is 2 and 4 here. The remaining digits here are 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, this can't be 5. This can't be 6 here. Where can the other crust be in column 9? Cannot be here because that adds up to 0. Cannot be here because that adds up to 0. It could be here. It could be here. It could be here. But it cannot be any of these because then these would add up to at least 2, 3, and 4, which adds up to 6. So these can't be crossed. One of these is a 9. We're not sure which. Okay. What else are we looking for then? So again, any sandwich clue that has 20 or more must have at least 3 digits in between the 1 and 9. 25 requires at least 4 digits in between the 1 and 9. What about 22? 22 also requires at least 4 digits between the 1 and the 9. So, can this ever be a 9? No, because it requires 4 digits in between. Or can this ever be the 9 or 1, essentially? Can it ever be a crust here? If this is a crust, it cannot have 4 digits this way because there's no other crust that could be here. And it can only have 3 this way. So this can never be a crust here. What are the possible combinations? We could have crust here, crust here, crust here, crust here. Or, so crust here, crust here. This can also never be a crust. Oh, okay. For any 25 clue, the middle cell can never be a crust because it's not 4 away from any other crust possible. So this can't be a crust, and that for any 22 or more. That's the same reasoning, right? Because you could, for 3 digits, you can have 6, 7, and 8 at maximum in between a sandwich. So anything that's more than 21 has to always have 4 digits in between a crust. And therefore, the center digit cannot be a crust because it can only have 3 digits in between it and another crust. So this can't be a crust. This cannot be a crust either. So we have all those. It could be here and here, here and here, here and here, or here and here. Can this ever be a crust? I don't think so, right? If this is a crust, that's 3 this way. That's only 3 this way for until another crust. So this can't be a crust either. So this then can no longer be a crust because it's similarly, you only have 2 digits in between this way, and then 3 digits in between the last crust you can have here. So this, oh, well, this is a 2, so it's not a crust, obviously. These are not crusts. Okay, I should probably do that then. So this has to be a crust here then. Because this can no longer be a crust because of this 25. And this was never a crust because of we already have what's in row 3. So this has to be a crust here, which means any of these 3 could be a crust, except this can't be a crust. Because then that would leave 6 digits in between, 1 outside, and that 1 outside would have to add up to 35 minus 25, which is 10, which is not allowed. So this can't be a crust either. So this is a crust. One of these 2 is a crust. We're not sure which. There's a 2 in between. So if we were to have a crust here, the problem is 2 plus 6, 7, and 8, which is the maximum in between, would only add up to 23. So this cannot be a crust. This has to be the crust then. Right. So this adds up to 25. Therefore, these two add up to 10. You cannot have 2, so it's either 3, 7, or 4, 6 here. Where is the 5 in column 4? It must be one of these two digits then. Because it cannot be here. It cannot be here. It can't be in the crusts either, obviously. This is a crust. So the 9 cannot be here. So this cannot be a crust here because we have an 8 in between. This cannot be a crust either. This cannot be a crust because that's too big. That's 3 digits. So either this is a crust, this is a crust, or this is a crust. Yeah. So this is 4 digits. You still could have a 9 in either of these places, so that's fine. This is a crust, and it must have at least 3 digits in between. So none of these can be crusts then. None of these 3 digits can be a crust, so the crust has to be one of these 2 cells, which means one of these is a 1, and therefore the rest of the box cannot contain a crust. So these are not crusts. Therefore, this must be a crust, and therefore this must be a crust. To add up to 25, because we don't have any other possibilities. You can't have 3 digits again adding up to 25 that are between 1 and 9. These 3 digits add up to 10. It has to be 2, 3, and 5 explicitly. So that eliminates 2, 3, and 5 in the rest of the box and the rest of the row. So this has to be 4, 6, 7, and 8. That adds up to 25 for 4 digits. This is a 9. This is a 1, which makes that a 9, which makes that a 1. This can't be 3 or 5 here. This must be a 5, because that's the only possibility there. This adds up to 20, but where is the 2? The 2 cannot be here. There has to be, where is the 2 in box 2? Can't be here, can't be here. It must include this. So you have to have a 2. You have to have at most you have 7 and 8 if it's 3 cells adding up to 20. So that's too small. So it has to be 4 cells. So this cannot be the 1, which makes this the crust, which makes this the 5. The rest of the column cannot contain crusts. This has to be a 1. Obviously, this can't be 1. These can't be 5. These 4 digits add up to 20, so these 3 must add up to 15. Oh, these can't be a 4 here. We have a 3 and a 5 here. It adds up to 15, so we require a 7 here, which means this can't be 7 because of the 3, 5, 7 triplets in the same box. This then has to be 2, 4, 6, and 8, and this can't be 2. 1 of 6 or 8 is here, which means 7 has, this cannot be a 6, 8 pair. This is a 4, 7 pair now in box 2, which eliminates 4 and 7 in the rest of the box. This can't be 7, this can't be 4. So this adds up to 20 here. This adds up to 25. This adds up to 29. We have a 5 and a 2 in the between. This is 4, 7. The 8 has to be one of these 2 digits, and the 8 has to be with 3 or 6, because if this is 3 and 7, this becomes 4, so 4 can't be here, and 7 can't be here. If this is 4 and 6, this becomes 7, so 4 can't be here, and 7 can't be here again. 22 can only have a crust, again, around 4 cells. None of these can be a crust, so this must be a crust here, which makes this not a crust, and therefore this is a crust. These 3 digits add up to 13, because 35 minus 22 is 13. And to get the minimum value would be what? 2, 4, and 7. which does add up to 13. So therefore, the minimum is the exact amount we need. So it's 2, 4, and 7. This can't be 7. This can't be 4. This can't be 2. So this is 3. The remaining digits are 3, 5, and 8. This can't be 5 because of this 5. We have a 9 in one of these cells, but this cannot be 9 here because one of these must be 9. So for this in row 7, the other crust has to be here and is a 9. So this is a 9. These cannot be crusts anymore. This is an 8, which means none of these can be 8. Let's see. If we had a crust, okay, if we had a crust here, the problem is you have to have 7 in between. So it could be 1, but then you'd have 3 crusts then in this box 6, which is not allowed. Or it could go 1, 2, 3, but 3 digits can never add up to 7 without a 1. So that doesn't work that way either. So this can never be a crust. One of the crusts is here. One of them is here. We're not sure which. This is 22, actually, so this can never be a crust. Here. Well, where's the last remaining crust? It has to be here. Because this is 22, you have to have at least 4 in between. So it cannot be any of these. It's one of these two. And therefore, it must be a 1 here. Because this can't be crust, so this can't be crust. This has to be the crust here. Which means these can't be crusts. You need 4 digits adding. This is a 9. This is a 1. This is a 9. This is a 1. You need 4 digits adding up to 14 without a 1. So it must be 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this cannot be 6 or 7. This can't be 3 or 4. This can't be 8. So 8 has to be one of these 2 digits. That's interesting. And this is 2, 3, 4, and 5. But this cannot be 5. 2 has to be one of these 2 digits. And we have 6, 7, and 8 remaining. This is 7 or 8. This is 6, 7, or 8 here. So 8 has to be one of these. That's not true. 6 has to be one of these 2 digits. One of these is a 1. We have all the crusts in column 6. We have all the crusts in box 8. So this can't be a crust. One of these is a crust. Okay, so either this is 9 and this becomes 2 and 5. It cannot be 3 and 4 because we cannot have a 3 in the same column. So this would have to be 2, this would be 5. Or this is 9 and this is 7. So we don't know anything about this, but this is 2 or 9 here. This is 5 or 7. So we have that done. These 2 cannot be crusts. Or cannot be both crusts, I should say. Because that would require 2 digits in between. So it would be, and then it would be 2 and 3, but this can't be 2 and this can't be 2. So that doesn't work. So this can never be a crust here, which forces this to be a crust, which makes this a 9, which makes that a 7, to add up to 7 in between. These 2 could be a crust, and these 2 cannot be crust because then it wouldn't add up to 5 in between. So it specifically has to be here and here as the crust, which means this can't be crust. This has to be 3 and 2. Whoops. To add up to 5. This can't be 3 here, so that makes this a 4, which makes this a 6 to add up to 10 on the outside. That forces this to be 7. This is 8. And this should add up to 25 now. 2 and 8 add up to 10. 3 and 7 add up to 10 with 5 is 30, 25. So that works. This can't be 8, so this must be 3, which makes that a 5. Therefore, this is an 8. This 5 and 4 means this can't be 4 or 5, so this becomes a 2-3 pair. Don't know anything about these. This cannot be a 1 or a 9 because it sees both 1 and 9, so this can't be a crust. Okay, what are the remaining digits here? The 5 and 7. This can't be 5 because of this 5, so this must be a 7, which makes that a 5. This adds up to 18 already. The only combination that adds up to 22 without a 1 would be a 4 here. So this is 4, which means this must be a 1 and is a crust. So this can't be crust. This makes this a 9, which makes this a 1. So we're looking for the last 9, which has to be here. That's we had 8 9s. We actually have 8 1s also, so we know where the last 1 has to be. It has to be here. And these cannot be crusts anymore. Okay, so the remaining digits, this 7 means this can't be 7, so this is 8, which means this can't be 8, so this is a 6-7 pair here. We have to add up to 20 here, which means 15 on the outside here. Well, 15 minus 4 is 11, so this has to these two digits must add up to 11. It can either be 3 8 or 5 6, so 7 cannot be here. This is 5, this is done. This is already done also. This is done. This is done. So this is done, this is done, this is done for the rows. This is done for the rows. This is done, this is done. This is done. This is not done. It's done here. 18. So that means since if you have 18 on the inside, and this actually has to be what, 4, 6, and 7, but it cannot be 7. So this must be a 4, 6 pair here. This is 15, which means this must be a 3. So this is 3, this is 6, this is 2. This can't be 2 or 6, so this is 8. This can't be 3, so this is 2, which makes this 3. This is a 7, which makes that not a 7, so that's a 4. This 8 means this can't be 8, so this is 6, this is 8. Where is the 8 in row 9? Cannot be any of these cells, so this must be an 8 here, which makes this a 2, 3 pair. This can't be 3 because of that 3, so that's a 2. This is a 3. This is a 4 then, because of what's remaining. The remaining digits here are 2, 3, and 5. So this can't be 2 because of this 2, so this is 3 or 5. This is 2, 3, or 5 here. The remaining digits then in row 6, where is a 2? Cannot be any of these cells, so it must be here. So this is a 2, which leaves this as 4 and 6. This can't be 4 because of that 4, so this must be a 6, which makes that a 4. This 4 makes that not a 4, so that's 2, that's 4. This can't be 2, so this can't be 2. This is a 2, so this can't be 2, so this must be a 2. This 6 means this can't be 6, so this must be 8. These two must add up to 11, so this is 3, this is 5, which makes that 3. This is a 6, which makes that a 7, which makes that a 6. This 7 means this can't be 7 or 3, so this is 5, which makes that a 7. The last digit remaining here is a 7. Now we just do normal Sudoku. The remaining digits here are 3 and 5. This can't be 3 because of that 3, so this is 5, which makes that a 3. The last remaining digit here is an 8. Last two digits in column 9 are 7 and 6. This can't be 7 because of that 7, so this is 6, which makes that 7, which this 6 makes that a 4, which makes that a 6, and we have just a 4 and a 5 left. And that's a solution. Pretty interesting. 22 minutes for me. And that was doing a lot of explaining. So yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. And it's just a simple sandwich Sudoku. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this solve, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.